which one? This one has to be the best one, I think. Everybody loves, everybody loves a good Erika Kirk story. Who couldn't love an Erika Kirk story? Um, this one's not too long. So this one is so I tried to do a YouTube video about this. I tried to talk about this on my stream. The one video I found was from like the Economic Times or something, and it had nothing to do with the actual like thing that I wanted to talk about, and it ended up being one of my best performing videos. So that's kind of a little fun anecdote for everybody. But so basically, Erika Kirk has been assigned a pretty high-ranking role, I think, in communicating with the like Air Force communications or something, if I had to guess, um, or like it, from what I understand. Um, I don't know how she got that role. Maybe the Egyptian planes, you know, flew over like some one of our planes and like dropped a little secret note to them saying like you got to hire Erika Kirk. So I really don't know what's going on here. I'm really hoping this article though by the Intercept, which I really like the Intercept as a source of news. I hope that it'll give us a little bit more information. I'm also hoping that it'll be a fun story as well. But okay, this is Air Force Academy prepares ideological overhaul with Erika Kirk bringing bold Christian faith. Ooh, the Air Force is going to become Christian as opposed to what it clearly was before, which was what, Muslim? I don't know. But let's find out. The Academy's oversight board records show leaders. Okay, I gotta start over. The Academy's oversight board records show leaders dismantling DEI to align with Trump directives. Critics warn the military is becoming a Christian nationalist Praetorian Guard. Hey, that never heard anybody before, right? A Christian army. um, okay. Records from the United States Air Force Academy's Oversight Board shows leaders dismantling diversity programs and reviewing curriculum as the board embraces what critics call a concerning ideological turn toward Christian nationalism and prepares to seat conservative activist Erika Kirk. There she is. She is ready to go. She is ready to make it the most Christian. The communications revealed in December 2025 meeting minutes reviewed by The Intercept come as the administration has employed religious rhetoric in its military practices, as though it didn't already have a lot of religious shit in it before, but now it's just like very explicit. Um, Amid the U.S. and Israel's war on Iran, some service members and political supporters have framed the war in religious terms, including describing it as part of God's divine plan. We got to get that end times going, baby. Other federal agencies have also openly embraced white nationalist rhetoric and imagery, including a Department of Homeland Security recruitment post that used a neo-Nazi associated anthem days after the fatal ICE shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis. This is all very interesting to me. That they're, just basically restructuring it as a full Christian nationalist like force because um I think that what's going to happen here is they're going to lose a lot of their talented people. This is what happens like whenever any institution becomes more religious fanatic. You can see this in, for instance, Israel and lately America as well, where the like more intelligent, like let's just say engineer types or whatever, start to avoid like coming here or coming to Israel or start leaving Israel because it's becoming more fascist and like Nazi like or whatever. So I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to become our military is going to become even like even more incompetent than it already is. And considering we just lost that F-35 to like Iran's missile defense, like air defenses or whatever, or we didn't lose it, sorry, but it was shot down by Iran. I think it's just a kind of like just the perfect amalgamation of this sort of incompetence that's going to become even more apparent as time goes on. But anyway, When the White House announced Kirk's appointment to fill her late husband's seat on the board, it highlighted Charlie Kirk's bold Christian faith. Language critics say suggests religion was treated as a qualification for the role. Probably, but yeah, sure. The appointment of Erika Kirk to the U.S. Air Force Academy Board of Visitors goes hand in hand with Christian nationalist incursions into our armed forces, such as Pete Hegseth's actions and statements promoting his fervent brand of evangelical Christianity at the Pentagon, said Ani Lori Gaylor, co-president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Man, my voice is not doing well today. Okay, critics warn that changes could reshape how the military's premier officer training institution educates future leaders as it aligns with the administration's Restoring America's Fighting Force initiative. President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary, no, War Crime Secretary Pete Hegseth's marquee plan to reverse the military's diversity efforts and emphasize lethality. They got a lethality max, baby. Uh, Minutes from the meeting describe Academy leaders briefing the board on steps taken to implement those directives, including removing DEI elements from the admissions process and reviewing curriculum and academy facilities for compliance with presidential executive orders. Yeah, like I said, it's just they're just going to alienate all of the talented people from showing up with all this shit. The appointment of Erika Kirk goes hand in hand with Christian nationalist incursions into our armed forces. That's just a quote I think that I already read. In public comments submitted to the Board of Visitors, including in the meeting materials, Doug Truax, CEO of the Conservative Restoration of America Foundation, urged the board to review faculty and programs he said were aligned with social justice, the scariest type of justice, agendas. He also singled out Colonel Candace Pipes, the Academy's admissions chief, for commenting on racial disparities in the Air Force and claims she said she pays a diversity tax as a black woman. Oh God, sorry. This is just kind of well, yeah. I don't know. This is just like it's so petty. It's just so petty. Um, but yeah, the Air Force Academy has established 4 task forces to ensure compliance with the Restoring America's Fighting Force plan. It's just they need to get a better name. The RAF plan, is that what it is? Yeah, they need a better name for that. According to the minutes, one of them focused on admissions found that with the changes being implemented, the Academy's admissions process is merit-based and that diversity, equity, and inclusion elements have been removed. Only the most talented people, only the most talented people, I'm sure, will get hired once you get rid of DEI. Yeah, totally. You're not just going to hire all of the white fail sons that uh, that are typically hired anyway or whatever at just a higher rate. I'm sure that's not what's going to happen. Like I said, it's just going to breed more incompetence, but the Board of Visitors is congressionally mandated oversight body that reviews cadet life curriculum, faculty finances, and discipline at the Air Force Academy, which commissions roughly half of the service's new officers each year and plays a central role in shaping the culture of future military leadership. The board's findings and recommendations are delivered to the Secretary of the Air Force and forwarded to Hegseth and Congress. While the board cannot directly set policy, its oversight can shape Pentagon scrutiny and congressional funding decisions. Hey, if they can find a way to word this so that the Army gets less money and less funding, and the Pentagon gets less money and less funding, I'm all for it. Let's get rid of like, you know, I mean, let's just get rid of like everything. Let's start from scratch. Actually, maybe that's how I'll frame it. For these, hey Pete Hegseth, if you're listening, it's completely lost. DEI has infiltrated it. You can't get rid of it piecemeal like this. You just got to start from scratch. Get rid of fire the entire military, and then start rehiring only white people. Maybe that'll work. But the board can influence congressional funding of the academy, so there's definitely some power there, said William J. Astor, a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel who taught at the academy for 6 years. More than anything, the appointment of Kirk to the board demonstrates the ongoing politicization of the service academies. More than anything, the appointment of, I just read that. I don't like these things, by the way. They always confuse me. I'm like thinking it's like the entry to a new part of the story or something, but they're just repeating like the most important quotes or whatever. Unlike earlier political appointments to the board, Kirk's selection reflects a specific political and religious alignment rather than expertise in military affairs, said retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Van Landingham. What a name. A graduate and former instructor at the Academy. She warned the move could encourage Academy officials who shared those views to shape internal reporting or programs in ways that reinforce them. Yeah, I mean, Erika Kirk is one of the least talented people that I've ever seen try to do like media and try to do communication. And this whole job is about communication. So it's really, you know, I'm assuming this is going to go about as well as like the Turning Point USA Super Bowl halftime show or whatever, if I had to guess. The BOV only makes recommendations to the Secretary of Defense through the Secretary of the Air Force, so its influence is typically quite indirect, Van Landingham said. However, given Secretary Hesketh alignment with Kirk's group and connections to Miss Kirk, what kind of connections? Uh-oh. Candace, have you read this article? If you're listening, Candace, please, you can put me in your video. It's fine. You're my queen. You're my Erika Kirk hating queen. Please. There's some sort of connection here between Secretary Hegseth and Kirk. This appointment could provide a backdoor directly to the Secretary of Defense, thus elevating the power. The changes revived longstanding concerns about religion and ideology at the Academy. The Colorado Springs institution has faced repeated allegations over the past 2 decades that Christian beliefs are favored within cadet culture and leadership structures. Um, I'm sure that it is. Every aspect of America is dominated by Christian favor, like Christians being favored or whatever. So, in 2005, the Air Force launched a major investigation after cadets reported pressure to attend chapel services and adopt evangelical Christian beliefs. The review found that Academy leaders had struggled to fully accommodate the religious needs of non Christian cadets and had blurred the lines between permissible religious expression and coercion. Yeah, that's America, baby. That happens a lot. We non-Christians, as Pope of the seculars, I can assure you, even as the Pope of the seculars, I am still constantly bombarded with Christian coercion. Okay, especially in the Midwest, man. It's rough. Later climate surveys continued to highlight the issue. One 2010 survey found that 41% of cadets who identified as non Christians said they had experienced unwanted religious proselytizing at least once or twice in a year. I get that at least once or twice in a year, and I'm not even in the military, man. I swear. Like, one time I went to these caves that we have near where I live in St. Louis, and some people just started humming and singing like Jesus hymns. Like it was a group tour or whatever. And we're down in the depths of these caves with like a group of people and they just started humming like Jesus. I'm just like, dude, do we have to do this here? But anyway, that's just part of living in America though. It doesn't really get me that mad, though, to be honest. USAFA has long struggled with unlawful religious viewpoint discrimination, institutionally favoring Christianity over other. Oh, I think I already read that. Uh, Federal law governing the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors divides appointment authority among the White House and congressional leadership. The panel's members are selected by the President, the House Speaker, and the House Minority Leader. So Hakeem, the Senate majority and minority leaders, Schumer, and the chairs and ranking members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committee. Okay, one second, sorry. Of the board's 14 currently filled seats, 10 are held by members of Congress, including 7 Republicans and 3 Democrats, compared to 5 Democrats and 3 Republicans in December 2022. The remaining 4 members are presidential appointees. Only a small minority of the board's members have prior military experience. So I guess Erika Kirk isn't like that abnormal in that regard. Minutes from a December 2022 meeting during the Biden administration showed that academy leaders briefed members on cadet welfare programs and missions and sexual violence prevention initiatives. A stark contrast to the priorities under Trump. I was going to say. That's some woke shit, dude. Preventing sexual violence in the military is woke. On our new modern non-woke military, sexual violence is encouraged. It seems like basically how they talk. I mean, we do have like a fucking sex pest as the Secretary of War Crimes, so um, Estor, the retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, said the board historically drew little attention from faculty focused on cadet education, but he said recent meetings and Kirk's appointment suggest a growing focus on ideological priorities rather than professional military education. The degradation of our military continues. I don't think Erika Kirk is going to question why cadets aren't learning their Clausewitz and Sun Tzu. I don't know anything about Clausewitz. Sun Tzu is the Art of War guy. I know that. It is telling and highly inappropriate that the White House, in announcing Kirk's appointment, brought up Charlie Kirk's bold Christian faith. Gaylor. Uh-oh. That guy, the first half of his name is woke. Of freedom from a religious foundation said, as if that were a qualification for his widow serving on it. The Constitution still bars any religious test for public office. I think we're past that now, but apparently the White House isn't aware of that. Like I said, I think we're past that now. America is descending into a fascist, like Nazi state. So we're going to start having religious tests for all public office and potentially private office as well, or private like positions as well. The White House did not respond to questions from The Intercept asking why Kirk was selected for the position. Turning Point USA, the conservative activist organization and Super Bowl halftime show provider. Sorry, I added that part. Founded by Charlie Kirk, where his wife is now CEO and board chair. Very suspicious. Very suspicious that he died and she was instantly put there, I would have to say. Also did not respond to questions about what role she is expected to play on the board. Yes, okay. This is something. So, Candace, I'm telling you, please, my queen, you have to pick up this story. I don't know if you already have, but you have to pick up this story. Um, Not only did Erika Kirk kill Charlie Kirk and steal his job and cheat on him with JD Vance, she is also clout-sharking her way to the head of like the Air Force. Like, you need to get on this. A spokesperson for the Academy said the institution thanks all members of the Board of Visitors for their service and commitment to our mission, and that according to federal law, the institution does not influence or take a position on the selection of individual Board of Visitor members. But critics and former Academy officials warned the changes could shape a generation of officers more loyal to political ideology than to the military's traditional commitment to constitutional, nonpartisan service. They aren't serious about developing officers of character at USAFA who can critically think and defend our nation most effectively through wise leadership. Van Landingham said they're interested in turning the military into a Christian nationalist Praetorian Guard. Definitely, 100%. Like I said, this is just going to accelerate the collapse of our military as like even being able to be somewhat like tactically victorious as they are now. Um, the military has long since been unable to achieve strategic objectives. They haven't been, they were unable to defeat the Taliban. They were unable to defeat the Houthis. They were unable to defeat the Viet Cong. They were unable to win in Korea or whatever. You know, they've long been unable to achieve the strategic outcomes that they say that they want or whatever. Um, I'm sorry. That seems to happen every time I read an article. For some reason, my battery goes off, or the battery on my headset goes off. But yeah, they haven't been able to achieve strategic outcomes for a while. They're like I would argue that they are achieving, the goals of like the Epstein class or whatever. They're making it easy for them to all profit off of war, but they're unable to achieve like the stated strategic goals that they want to, and that's been for a while. But um, as Iran is kind of showing now the limits of American force projection, and as America gets embarrassed, like basically on a daily basis on the world stage, as it loses all of its all of its planes, it loses like an F-35 today, I think. Um, it's unable to open the Strait of Hormuz. We're already seeing some degradation in America, like as a fighting force, and this is all just going to accelerate it. Like, there's going to be so few smart people in the military. There's going to be so few strategically, strategists who are competent in the military after this. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they just literally start relying on AI to develop their strategies, which, yeah, will lead to complete and total failure and collapse. So, like, I don't know. It's an interesting article. I love to dunk on Erica too, and her late husband or whatever in by extension. So, this was a kind of fun one.